Hi and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show. I'm Atiq Ahmed Bhatti, a fourth generation homeopath with over 25 years of professional experience and practice in this field of healing. The Homeopathy Health Show is the online voice of homeopathy around the world, promoting and raising awareness of this truly unique system of healing, which is suitable for all ages, young and old. Every week I invite guests from the world of homeopathy to come and share their experiences, their work, offer insights, and essentially talk all things homeopathy. Why not visit www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast button to listen to the latest episodes. So let's begin today's show here on UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. Hi and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show here on the UK Health Radio Network, and I do hope that you are well. Now, as always, it's been an action-packed week, highs and lows, peaks and troughs, but hey, it's all been good. Everything is about a learning experience, and life indeed is very much a journey, is it not? Now, I'm absolutely delighted. I was just thinking of the word, and I do use that a lot, do I not, being delighted, but I genuinely am, because I have my returning guest, Peter Tumminello, all the way from Australia. And actually, just so you know, some behind-the-scenes excitement for you, it's Tuesday for me, and it's Wednesday for Peter. So woohoo, and it's the morning for Peter, and it's very late at night for me. But you know what? I was thinking about this because the last episode with Peter, which was part 1 of this 3-part special, it was the same timing. And there's something very beautiful about, for me personally, about recording at night. You just have that space, it's very quiet in the studio, and it's a very nice opportunity to think clearly. And I couldn't be happier, actually. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but poor Peter, it's morning for him. But let's let's get inspired a little bit more. So, Peter Tumminello,
I need to reflect on that, Atiq. I need to reflect on what you've just said. That's okay with you.
Yeah.
So, for many years, especially while I was writing Psyche and Structure, I was very excited. And I had lots of ideas flowing through my head and lots of possibilities and lots of research to sift through to really come up with the book. And working at night was fantastic. So often, I would be up till 2 or 3 in the morning. I was so excited,
wow.
just pulling it all together. And of course, the deeper it got into the night, the more quiet it was, and the better the work, and the more enjoyable, because there was just no interference. There was no clients calling you. There were no one in the family that would dare, they were all asleep.
Yeah.
There was I didn't have to look at emails. It was fantastic. It is an amazing time. After about 10 or 11 o'clock, it's an extraordinary time. I would go out for a moonlight walk. That often helped.
It's the strangest thing you just said that, because after this recording, I am actually going to go for a walk. And there's something so beautiful, isn't it, about, I know, we need to sleep early and etc. But I'm just saying, when you're working and you need that space, I absolutely agree. You're so right. You've said it so eloquently. There's something about the later hours of the night, or the early hours, let's say, depending where you are, but which really, because of that peaceness and that stillness, which you can feel around you. I mean, I can feel it here. It helps you to think and it helps you to concentrate, but it also is because one becomes very calm at this time of evening, right? Late evening.
It really is an exceptional time, and it's a bit famous amongst creative people.
Really? Oh, well, there you go then. Okay. So that's a very beautiful start to this episode. And you mentioned moonlight, because I'm a big fan of the moon, and I often find, Peter, what I often find doing nowadays, and I absolutely love it, and my family has now joined in this, is that if we see the moon, we will actually stop no matter where we are. Even if we're driving a car, we will park up. If it's a good sight, I mean, it's a good view of the moon,
Mm.
we'll get out of the car and we will actually ponder and reflect and be grateful and look at that beauty of Luna. I mean, it's absolutely something else, is it not?
It is absolutely something else, and it means so much to us because we're 72% water, and the moon regulates it and
It's
regulates women's cycles and the whole of the planet. It's fantastic.
it is, and it's a sight to behold every time, is it not?
It is. There is no other planet that has a moon like ours.
Yeah. And we're totally going off the topic, but I love talking to you about these things because they are actually, Peter, are they not reality as it should be? To look and enjoy those things around us, to stop and look at the beauty of flowers and insects and then think what is there, what is, because every piece of creation has adds something to the ecosystem or to us being alive as human beings. But it's so important sometimes just to stop and appreciate and reflect, I guess is the word I can come up with.
I couldn't agree more. We're talking about a really important subject here for homeopaths.
Hmm. We were talking about gems, of course, last time, and we're going to continue that conversation, of course, in this episode. But who knows what those gems had to go through to become the gems that they are, which you then prove, which then end up healing people of conditions. Isn't that just wow?
You just dived into the deep well of my life's experience here.
Well, do share. That's why we are here.
Yeah, yeah. Look, yeah, I wrote a poem about this many, many years ago, and I might dig it up for our next meeting.
Hmm.
And it's true, so many times I have been out in nature and I come across something and it's completely new to me and unknown. And I think, wow, I've been gifted this and I don't even understand what it is right now, but I've been gifted this. I know it's really special because I've never seen anything like it before, you know, and it's just here laying in my hand. And it took millions and millions of years to form, and it's going to be a medicine. Yeah.
Hmm.
And, I'm just carried, it carries me on a journey. Yeah. And it is an extraordinary thing. It is an extraordinary thing to think there are millions of years involved in this
And
and
also,
the powers behind that and the energy behind that. Wow.
and the timing. The timing has to be right, but we are not in charge of that timing because we could be anywhere. Well, let's refer to yourself, your respected
Oh,
self. You could be
oh,
anywhere and it just happens, and then it's right though because it was that timing, but we don't get to choose, and that's a phenomena in itself, is it not?
it is. It is. And it is a phenomena, and there's an overarching intelligence that is working for us, for our clients, and for Mother Nature all at the one time.
It's amazing, isn't it? In life, we're so caught up with things, just life, whatever it is, life, but there's no time to actually go back. And I don't mean go back as in go back in time wise, but just to go back and say, well, hang on a minute. Let me just be grateful for what is in front of me. And my God, if you are standing somewhere nice, there is so much to be
Mm,
grateful about, from the fact that you're standing on soil. Hopefully, it's rich in magnesium. You're grounding yourself. You've got trees. You've got beautiful colored leaves. You've got bird song in the morning. I've never heard anyone complain about, oh, I hate birds in the morning. They make so much noise. Isn't it the most blissful awakening for any human being, right? Bird song. The chirping is so Oh my God, it melts your heart if you actually understand what it's about and the depth of it and why and how and what's going on and how are they affecting nature and this ecosystem and the everything has been put together just for us to be able to survive. And sometimes we forget that. We forget everything because we're so caught up. Nothing wrong with that. It's just the way life is. But we really need to focus on things which are a bit more grounded now, I think.
We do, and I do believe that we are blessed in that regard because even I know the UK well, and going there, I feel the connection to Mother Earth. There's something that has been retained, even though it's 70 million people in that small island. God,
Yeah,
what's
you're right.
70
Thanks.
million doing
Thanks for
here?
that.
And in Australia, because we have our Indigenous folk, um, and because we have such a wide, vast land, it's easier to contact. But it's there and very much alive in the UK and many other countries.
Hmm.
And it's really important that we keep nurturing it and growing it in our awareness and not lose it. It's easy to do.
And also the fact that we in Australia itself, and we discussed this last time as well, but it was so beautiful because I often think of you and I think of the efforts that you're putting in to sometimes find gems, but sometimes it just happens. It's like a calling, and to go traveling. I mean, who does that, So bravo to you and greatest absolute respect, because I just think this is real life. This is life. Going out, taking a backpack, taking whatever, no signs of life whatsoever, risking it all. Why? Just to find something which you may not even know exists, but just something that will help you in turn to help others. I mean, we were talking about the ecosystem and everything's been created, but even humans have been created for that same purpose, to find things, right? And we can do that. We can find what nature has given us, and it's given us, my God, it's given us everything, isn't it? And it's all free. Well,
You're so right. You're so right. It is a rich experience. You really know you're alive when
hmm,
those things happen.
wonderful. So, hey, we do have to talk about gems because we have spent some time talking about. Actually, we've been talking about what's real, and I love that because that's what this
Yeah,
conversation is all about. But
and it has great relevance to homeopathy.
yes, absolutely, it does. I think you mentioned homeopaths are we're very compassionate. We know that, but you can't just be compassionate to humans, right? You have to be compassionate to everything around us because everything around us is giving us our tools for our trade.
They are. Mm.
And it's just amazing, isn't it, that remedies are proven. And I mean, it's just amazing. Remedies are proven, substances, whatever they may be, and they end up healing disease. I mean, wow. Come
Yeah.
on, wake up. This is like, when there's this expression, isn't it? Wake up and smell the coffee. But in the humblest way, let's wake up and smell that coffee because, or should I say, wake up and smell the healing, because it's just incredible that you can go to the beach and you can find certain gems or stones, and they all have curative properties or healing properties, for want of a better word.
It is fantastic. And they not only have those properties, but they heal with art and without pain, without, what's the word? Without
Without,
collateral damage.
yeah, and without prejudice, isn't it? Isn't that just
Yeah,
fascinating, isn't it?
absolutely true. Yeah.
It's so good. I wish I could have an opportunity to just spend time with you, going out and looking at these things and just having that experience, because from where I'm sitting, That is absolutely life-changing. I mean, there is nothing that can beat something like that. Going, finding something, and then making it into a remedy or medicine, however you want to refer to it, which then goes on to help, who knows, millions, maybe millions and millions of people. I mean, wow,
Yes.
wow, wow.
Over hundreds or thousands of years.
Mm. Just to continue our conversation from the previous episode, actually, is how would those students listening or those who are just generally fascinated and interested in gems and are homeopaths or dabble in homeopathy or are home prescribers, where is that link? How can one accommodate, incorporate, should I say, gems alongside homeopathy, or even how can they how can they just use gems maybe without homeopathy?
Good question. So, the first thing to say is that everything in nature is homeopathic. So it has a homeopathic relationship to us. So yes, you can use the gems without homeopathy, and it's still homeopathy.
Hmm.
Right? It's not potentized homeopathy. Homeopathy is the law of similars. It's not about dilution and succussion. That's just a modality. That's a technique we use so that it doesn't aggravate. But the homeopathic essence sits in the nature of the substance itself, whether it's potentized or not.
Hmm.
So, and it is famous. I don't need to tell you that, and most people will understand that gems have been used for thousands of years and been revered for thousands of years by many different civilizations. You know, the very oldest human graves had, fashioned stones in them, or semi-precious stones in them. So we know that they've always attracted the human eye and the human heart. So you can wear them. And the wisdom of that, and I'll sort of put aside the many experiences that I've had, I might just mention one or two of them. The wisdom of that is that the gem that has a resonance with you or with your disease can be worn and or can be even carried in your pocket. And it will have an effect. As long as it's in your auric field, it will affect you. You could even just sleep with it under your pillow
Hmm.
if you're very sensitive. If you want a long-term effect, you wear it. Yeah. So I have many rings that I have, and I wear those rings at different times according to what I know I need. Yeah. I know what those gemstones in those rings do for me, and or I know they have affinity with me, and I wear them. And I wear them with the ring is actually I'll just grab one here and show you.
Please. Yeah.
This is a black onyx ring. Can you see that
Oh,
well?
yes. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Black onyx.
it is a beautiful black onyx. Yes. So and you'll see here at the back. I don't know if you can see the back, but you can see the
Yes.
black.
It's very,
Yeah.
very clear.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that when you wear a ring or a piece of jewelry, is that you have it open or touching the skin.
Hmm.
Yes. And when you do that, you will definitely get the medicinal effects of the stone. Yeah. And so, I've got other stones here, that's a serpentine
Right. Yeah. Can see that.
and that's jade. Yeah. I've got many others.
For
So,
the listeners, just this is a you may be listening to the audio, but if you head over to my Instagram, which is at @like_treats like, that's how you to find me. You'll find the video of Peter showing these rings. So please do head over there.
good idea. So, just I'll do the last one. This is a black onyx that I found on one of the beaches.
Right.
So,
I love the rings though because they're very simple.
yes, they're very simple. I like to keep them simple so you've just got one
Yeah.
stone you're dealing with, so you know who you're talking to.
Yeah. It's very nice. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're not. jewelry for flash, they're jewelry for you. Yeah. So you can wear that and it will have a medicinal long-term effect. And a lot of people do this, they just carry stones. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the tradition that I got in touch with that was centered in Europe and particularly in Germany, that's what they did. Yeah. They have healers that did stones on your body, but they'd also say, you'd carry some stone or have it set in a piece of jewelry, or a pendant works very, very well. Yeah. Because it touches you over the heart.
Yeah.
And that's quite a central place energetically, but the fingers do well too.
It's actually quite important what you've just said there, because people people may actually not know the importance of what you've just said, which is when we wear a necklace or anything, male or female, with a gem on there, the importance is that it actually touches the heart, and that's so important for energy for transferring the energy.
To get the full benefit, yes, touching the skin is by far the best. Yeah. And there's no two ways about it. And so just one thing here, an aside, and this is usually part of a lecture I do, but the aside is that what you wear is quite important. And some people fall into a trap and they wear something because it's been given them, or it means something and they think they're supposed to wear it.
Hmm.
And it's really important that whatever you're wearing feels good. If you don't have a natural affinity for it and like it, it's better not to wear it.
Right.
So some people fall into a trap, and those stones often end up aggravating, yeah, and causing
Hmm.
problems. But the things you choose from the heart are good, or the things that are given from the heart and that feel good to you, sure, wear them. Yeah, as seems appropriate, whether it's just occasionally or for a long term thing.
Hmm.
So I have some turquoise, some topaz, some
Oh,
blue
that's
topaz,
beautiful. That's so beautiful.
and I wear that every day of my life. Yeah. And that's because it's been, given to me as a special thing for my life. Yeah. So that's the only thing I wear all the time. Um, so there are a number of things that I must say. I'll just give one instance. And that's the instance of someone very close to me, a woman who called me one day, and I said, "How are you?" She's a family member,
Hmm.
and she said, "I'm really depressed." I said, "Oh," because it was unlike her. And I said, "What's happening?" In the normal homeopathic way that you do.
Yeah.
And and she said, "I don't know." She said, "Nothing goes right. Nothing I do works. I'm really depressed. I'm just completely, it's been going." I said, "How long's it been going on?" She said, "2 months." I said, "Oh, wow." I said, what happened? What's changed? What's different?" And we traced it to a ring she was
Hmm.
wearing. And she'd been given a ring. It was a diamond ring. And she'd been given that by her son. She had done some work for her son, and he really appreciated it. And he gave her this diamond ring. And all hell broke loose.
Yeah. Which is very unusual for a diamond ring.
It is. And it was really resonant with her. I think she was a diamond constitution.
Hmm.
And it was aggravating the life out of her because the potency was wrong. She needed it in potency. She
Hmm.
never got to have that. She died before anything like that could happen. Under other circumstances, nothing to do with the ring. But as soon as she took the ring off, within 24 hours, everything lifted.
Hmm.
All the obstacles, all the feeling of failure, and all the depression evaporated. So, just for you people listening, the rings that you have to be careful of, they're very, very potent, is diamonds, rubies, and sapphires.
Hmm.
Emeralds are generally benevolent. It's hard to go wrong with an emerald. Yeah. But amongst the precious stones, please beware. Yeah. They can be doing things for you without, or to you without you
Hmm.
realizing. Yeah. So that's a little something about wearing. About learning about the gems. As a homeopath, the best way to learn about it is if you want, especially if you want to follow my path, is to go to 12 jewels. 12 jewels, we did 12 remedies over 10 years, and we did the provings 2 and 3 times. And we used 70 people all up, some of them very, very sensitive.
Hmm.
Some people went through long experiences, so that I can really vouch for the information there. In that book, there are beautiful illustrations of the energetic essence of those gemstones. And it covers all the precious ones, diamonds, rubies, pearls, sapphires, emeralds, golden topaz, lapis lazuli, and a number of others. Quartz, amethyst, yeah, ones that most people know of, yes.
Hmm.
So as an initial introduction for a homeopath, it's an excellent way to go. Yeah. Then I must say I did write another book because there was one I missed out, and that's the book on Rose Quartz. So if you want a lighter introduction, if you want just a more focused introduction, you could read the book on Rose Quartz. It's one of the best things I've ever written. Yeah.
Right.
And it's still, it's a fabulous, fabulous remedy. I can hardly talk about how wonderful it is for humanity. I'm about to, I've given many lectures on it. And I'm about to do a presentation with LMHI, which is the homeopathic group of doctors in Europe. Yeah.
Yes, there have been some posts on that recently on social media. LMHI, yes.
Yes. So yes, I'm doing a talk during that on Rose Quartz, and I'm quite excited about it because only recently I've had some of the best Rose Quartz results that I've ever had.
Hmm.
And I mean, I can follow that line a bit for you if you want. Are
Please.
we going down the right way of you've been questioning me and I'm sort of lost from the original question, I take
I think it's the best way to go in any conversation.
it. So, okay. Um, so is this an opportune time for me to talk about Rose Quartz?
Please do. Please do share.
So after I had written the book, I realized that I had a bias against it. I realized it was a common gemstone amongst people who were into gemstones. And I had a bias against it because of its feminine dimensions.
Hmm.
I thought it's nothing to do with boys, like give me the man stuff, And so give me the real, the ones that do the real business.
Hmm.
So my male ego was having a bit of a field day. And so I decided to look at it and I did a proving with a group here in Sydney. It was next to a seminar, as I recall. And it was good proving. And then the cases started to flow. So, I saw many, many clients who did well on it. An exceptional number, actually. I was really stunned with how many cases I was seeing.
Hmm.
And it came together so well. I think I had 37 successful prescriptions in clinic. Yeah.
Well.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Thought, oh, there's something talking to me here really loudly.
Mm.
And so I put that to get those prescriptions together. That might have been amongst, 10 or 15 clients. Yeah. And I put those prescriptions together with the proving and wrote the book. So interestingly, I've been using Rose Quartz for, all these years. I wrote the book in 2012. I did the proving in about 2007. So I've been using the remedy now for 17 years or 18 years. And just recently, I had a wonderful week. And halfway during the week, it was on the Wednesday or the Thursday, I had a client come in and they said, oh, the Rose Quartz you gave me was really, really good. Thank you. And the brief story was that they have had a really difficult menopausal flushing. And I picked up that they were a person who was over responsible for the family. So Rose Quartz is a remedy for being over responsible for the family. Yeah. Which is quite a few people around like that. And if you hadn't already noticed, you will know somebody. You will know somebody, I can guarantee you. Yeah. Anyway, they're often mothers, but they can be sons or daughters or husbands, or fathers. And she said, it was fabulous. I've lost so much sleep from flushing, menopausal flushing, and it's completely gone. The remedy has been fantastic. And I only had to take it for about 3 days before it completely evaporated.
Wow.
It's not the first case that I've had of cured menopausal flushing with Rose Quartz. But menopausal flushing is a common presentation for us. And it is a great thing to be able to help with because, it's an important time in a woman's life. To be able to navigate that well is really means a lot for the rest of their lives. So, I was really pleased with that. I had seen it before, but her result was particularly definitive. It was very, very strong. Yeah. And she changed the way she just dealt with the family. Yeah. She had some distance, some boundary that didn't tax her unduly. Yeah. Very good. And then a few days later, I had another person come in, and that lady had been to another homeopath, and the other homeopath was very, very good. And he'd been seeing her for many, many years and had helped her through many difficult situations, And she came in, she was full of praise for this homeopath. I said, well, what are you coming to see me for? So she said, I've got this one thing that he's never been able to tap. Yeah. It's a chronic digestive problem. Anyway, she had the same thing. She was over responsible for the family. And so I thought she had a terrible digestive problem. Yeah. She'd had it for 23 years. And it was sort of like the bane of her life. It was the only bane of her life that was left anyway. Quite a few, I'm sure. And so I gave her Rose Quartz, very over responsible for the family, very worried about the family. And she came in and said, my problem of 23 years of terrible digestive disorder has completely gone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
She was over the moon. So was I.
So am I, just hearing it.
I mean, they're ordinary. It wasn't, not some terrible disease, but something that had been there for so long and so deep.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that Rose Quartz had that action on the stomach, by the way. And just that night, it was a Saturday that she came in, and just that night I got a call from Europe. And the call, and I didn't answer. I thought, there's just no way I'm going to take a call from Europe on a Saturday night, from someone I don't know. and so the next day I looked at it, and it was a medical doctor I knew from Europe. Anyway, I phoned her back, or I looked at her. I looked at her WhatsApp, and she said, "Would you please come and give a talk on rose quartz to the major meeting that we're having here in Europe?"
Hmm.
And after what had happened during the week, just a few days before, I didn't have to think about it at all. It just took me 1 minute to say, yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
it.
of course. Yeah, brilliant.
Because I felt I had the fullness of the experience of rose quartz over the 17 years. Yeah. So wonderful remedy, wonderful, wonderful remedy. Mm. Um,
Did you use input? How do you administer rose
they were
quartz?
both 200s. They were both 200s. I often give a tincture,
Right.
uh, regularly, not very often. Yeah, I often give a tincture. And but in those cases, I was very sure of the potency and I needed some oomph. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went for 200 in the first instance.
So is rose quartz a remedy that is rose quartz itself? Is it a hot constitution, if you know what I mean? Like emerald is very soothing and cooling, isn't it? So if we're
It
talking
is.
about flushing, which is hot, or the sensation certainly is, and if we're talking about digestive complaints, generally digestive complaints exude some level of heat because of the liver itself and the stomach. I mean, it's just out of interest, I'm asking.
Hmm. I'm not sure. It's a really good question. Is it a hot constitution? Uh, I'm not sure because I've never seen it work on whether the person's generally hot or cold.
Hmm.
But I would surmise from its colour, it's a warm colour. Yes.
Hmm.
So I must say that the other thing that rose quartz is very, very good for is for Raynaud's disease.
Oh, interesting.
Great coldness. Yeah. Mm. But it's about the imbalance of circulation. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not being regulated properly. It's
interesting.
an unregulated heat and cold, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting that it's so many years and then everything starts to come into place, isn't it? Which means the power of healing that these gems have. Who knows what other things will come to the forefront later in years, to years to come. And it's like it's almost like the gems themselves continue to what's the word, progress in their ability to heal.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they progress. I do think that each substance has its own definitive story. It
Hmm.
could be that there's this thing where you get into the deeper mental, emotional aspect and it'll heal sort of whatever. But generally, it has a realm, even the physical body. I must say that we are still discovering, and the thing I'm working on at the moment is that um, we don't know our remedies.
Hmm.
And I think that even the most basic remedies of homeopathy, there's still a story to be told that isn't full, isn't complete. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll just give you a little aside on that. I had the great privilege of taking China Officinalis last year, the very first remedy of homeopathy.
Yes, absolutely.
It was a cracker, absolute cracker for me. Yeah. And I could hardly believe it. I thought, here it is, the first remedy of homeopathy. I've been doing homeopathy for 40 years and I didn't realize that I needed it like crazy.
Yeah.
And I took it and it was just a wonder.
Do share. I mean, what was that feeling, that initial feeling that you had?
I was in like, I took the remedy and I was in another world for a couple of days. I thought, can't believe I've taken this remedy. I've been dishing it out all these years and I haven't taken it myself. And it's the
Hmm.
first remedy of homeopathy. And I'm discovering things about it that no homeopath knows or at least has written about. Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, what are we doing? Like what's going on here? This is an unfolding, amazing story that we're involved in. Yeah. And we're
Mm.
all involved in it together, especially
Yeah.
if you contribute to the body of knowledge somehow. Yeah. So it is a fantastic journey. I guess I'm a sort of, China Officinalis they make air castles. So part of my story is I have lots of ideas. So, immediately I had the idea of writing a small book, China Remastered,
Oh, I like that. That's a very
but
catchy title.
diving right into China, and saying all that needs to be said about it. And there is a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, we know a whole lot of symptoms. Do we understand the full breadth and depth of the remedy? No, we don't. And it's the first remedy of homeopathy.
Yeah.
It's like here we are putting out tentacles everywhere, and we still don't understand our core.
It's interesting you say what you've just said about China, because when that time came for me in my life that I thought, okay, I think homeopathy is my way, the first medicine I picked up from my dad's shelf was China. It was the first one. I grew up with homeopathy, but I never handled remedies. Just watched, you observe. But that was the spark at that moment. I remember it so clearly. There's not much I remember, but I remember that. Yeah.
That's really special, isn't it?
Yeah. And only recently, actually, Peter, I've reflected back and realized, I thought, wow, what are the chances that I had to pick China? Because there were so many remedies on that rack. Why did I go for that? And what happened as a result? Because as soon as I picked it up, it was like, that light bulb moment, or I wouldn't say that. That's probably not sufficient enough to explain, but it was like a spark. Like, okay, this is it. And it was a turning point.
That's really fascinating. There's something special about this remedy. There has to be.
Yeah,
It's the seminal core of homeopathy. I mean, we wouldn't be here without it.
yeah.
It's quite extraordinary. Yeah.
It
And
is,
there's
isn't it?
some,
Yeah. And
mm,
how Hahnemann was led to that. China. It could have been anything, right? But it was China. And as you said, first remedy, and from translation to this to malaria to that, and what a story. I mean, it's in itself, you can sort of talk about it for years. I wonder how he felt at that time as well.
oh, yeah,
That's
this is
deep.
really, it is. It's really, really deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just blown away. I walked around, I've given so much of my life to homeopathy. I walked around for a couple of days just in a daze, thinking, wow, this is really good for me. Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? That's
And I got
amazing.
dreams and, like dimensions that I didn't understand, were all coming. Yeah, it's like, man.
Wow. And that is just amazing because of the frequencies themselves, right? So we can tap into so much. I mean, that in itself is a conversation, right? And remedies can certainly help. If you already have it, they can't create something artificial. But if you
Correct.
have that already and it opens up channels and you can tap into your higher self or just become more enlightened, and that's, people say, oh, what do you mean enlightened? Basically, your mind opens up, right? And you see
A
things
little
from
bit
a very
wiser.
different perspective.
A bit wiser would be good.
Yeah. That's a really brilliant story. That's so good you shared that.
Yeah, it is a good story, and I might even write that book. I don't know, but um, uh, I was very deeply impressed and shaken by the
Yeah.
experience.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I do like the title. Remastered always makes me think of LPs. So Pink Floyd remastered, and and things like that. So that's genius actually. It's very catchy indeed. Um, Peter, we have so much to talk about, but we are at the end of episode 2 of this special. and time has absolutely flown by. And I think we need to, of course, carry this conversation on in part 3. And I actually think, to be honest, we probably end up with a 6-parter. 2 trilogies, why not? I mean, Star Wars did it, they did 3, so why not? I mean, George Lucas did it, didn't he? So why can't I?
He did, yeah. Okay, let's look at it.
Brilliant.
So I found 3 a bit daunting, although once I started with you and understood how you worked, I thought, yep, this is really good. And 6, I'm finding, wow, because I've got so many other things on my plate, but hey, let's talk about it.
Well, I'll give you plenty of time in between, because I know how exceptionally busy you are, but it's an absolute honor. I'm so humbled to have you on the show again. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. There's so much to talk about, so let's just continue and I suppose go with the flow.
That's really great. I'm really enjoying it. Thank you, Atik. And I hope you folks are enjoying it too, who are listening. I mean, we have something so precious here in our homeopathic work. It's hard to believe how wonderful it is.
It's a gem in its own right.
It is.
I do hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Homeopathy Health Show. Please do support the show by clicking follow on my socials. Remember, the more exposure the podcast receives, the better for homeopathy around the world. You can find me on Instagram by searching for @like_treatslike, and on both Facebook and TikTok by searching for @like_treatslike. So let's promote the voice of homeopathy on radio and podcast around the world together. Don't forget to visit me online at www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast tab. Here you'll be able to see all the guests that have joined me on the show so far, and of course you can stream on demand the latest episode to your mobile, tablet or PC. Until next time, stay safe and take care.